What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a new segment we're trying out called the Weekly Reaper. This is going to be some short-form content, things that happened during the week that weren't necessarily covered in the long-form podcast. Definitely things that are less serious, more fun, and may have flown under the radar during the week and not gotten covered. Also things that are not necessarily related to JD. So we're going to try it out. We're going to see how it goes, and let me know what you think. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. And we're going to jump on in. So the first thing is, of course, Elaine's motion to set aside the verdict. Now, obviously, this was heavily covered during the whole week. So many YouTube videos, so many breakdowns from our amazing multiple team of lawyers across YouTube and Twitter and everybody. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows where they can go watch some of the best content that came out on this, either from the regular Twitter team, which, you know, myself, Laura, everybody. Ian Runkle did a really great breakdown. He actually joined us on the Myth and Monsters podcast live on Saturday to start going over it. And we were joined by, of course, Brian and Christina for that. But then on Sunday, he did his very own video breakdown, which is long and a full unwinding of that horrendous motion. You can also catch it on Emily D. Baker's Coffee and Cursey Words, which was really funny and really great, and she's just absolutely fabulous at doing this and really fun to watch. You can also check out Laura's breakdown, and I joined her on that video for about the last 45 minutes to an hour, where she was going through it as well. Links to all those videos are down in the description, and make sure you check those out. The next thing up on the list is Johnny's NFT project. If you don't know what it is the Never Fear Truth project. It's Johnny's first showcasing of his art on a really grand scale. The project was launched earlier this year. Everybody had a chance to purchase an NFT if they were so inclined. And that project, when they started out, made mention that they were going to be donating a lot of the proceeds to charity. And they just released the numbers that they have donated so far, and that's not pledged, donated. They are up to $800,000 to charity. That includes the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, Great Ormond Street, Australian Children's Hospital, etc. And that is really amazing. If you're interested in checking out the project, becoming part of the NFT community, or even just joining the Discord, you can head on over to neverfeartruth.com and join the Discord community. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy an NFT to join the chats and sort of engage with everyone else who's there. You can just sign up, log in, and have a great time and see everything that they're up to. Hopefully Johnny's going to be doing an art exhibition in London later this year. That has been talked about multiple times, but there hasn't been, as far as I've seen, a hard date or anything on that yet. But for right now, we're definitely celebrating this amazing charity donation. Not a pledge. All right, let's move it on. While we're here and sort of talking about social media stuff, Johnny's Instagram is up to 26.6 million followers. I think before the trial, he was somewhere around 11 or 12 million. So he has doubled the number of followers, more than, in the course of the last 2.5 months, which is incredible and just goes to show how loved he is. I know there's a lot of nonsense happening on Twitter and across social media. I don't think that it's really accurate as far as the numbers that we're seeing on some of these posts from the opposition, shall we say. One thing that I noticed is that they still can't get anything trending. It's always the pro JD hashtags that are trending. And so if that activity was really real, what it looks like in terms of likes on posts, etc., they would be able to get those hashtags that they like to use trending whenever they wanted. And that is not happening. Anytime anything that's favorable to her starts to trend, it's always hijacked by the pro JD community. And so there's definitely something going on there that doesn't smell right. You know, I'm hesitant to call it bots or anything like that, because obviously that's something that's been used against the Justice for JD community for a long time. But there's definitely something there that's not passing the smell test, because those hashtags should be trending if they're really getting that number of engagement, and it's only pro Johnny stuff that gets trending on a daily basis. A couple other things to note on the artistic side for Johnny is that he is still on tour with Jeff Beck. Those tour dates have now expanded. If you haven't seen it yet, they are now coming to the US. Some US dates are starting to appear. specifically in Texas. But that is running now all the way through the 23rd of September of this year, and obviously a lot more dates still to come over in the European side of things. Also, that album is dropping on July 15th. So make sure you pre-order it. A lot of the singles have been dropping along the way. I know another one just dropped last night. And the album is shaping up really, really nicely. Everything is really good, of course. So make sure you go and check that out and pre-order, and check the dates on the tour because they might be coming somewhere near you. Alrighty, now just in case you missed this, which I don't think too many people actually did, but really exciting news for one of our own and one of my great friends, Brian. He was finally able to get his YouTube monetized yesterday after a huge uproar from the community. Very much appreciated with the hashtags, monetize the incredibly average and all that stuff. He went on Andy's channel. Andy Signor is such a great cheerleader for the Justice for JD community, for the cause at heart, and just for everybody who's involved in it. He's such a great guy. But thanks to all of those efforts, Brian's channel was finally monetized yesterday, and it's a huge achievement. We're really happy for him. He absolutely deserves it. So much time and effort that went into all those videos over so many years. So if you have time, go head over to his channel, watch the videos on mute, just play them over again and let those ads play so Brian can get a little bit of compensation for all his time, all his effort, all the hours of research, and all the hours of creating that content through the 3D modeling and animations and just all out Sherlock Holmesing all over the place. Alright, so go support Incredibly Average on YouTube. I know you guys will anyways. But thank you so much for supporting him and us and this channel and his channel and everybody's channel. We just really appreciate everyone's engagement and their support in helping us continue this journey. And as long as you guys want to stay engaged and want us to continue putting out this content and covering this mess from all the angles, because believe me, there are so many more angles than just what happened in the trials and the evidence and all that stuff that's just on the surface, we will absolutely continue to put it out. And like Johnny says, you guys are the audience. You guys are our audience. You're our bosses, and y'all just let us know what you want to see and we will make it happen. So thank you very, very much again. We just all really appreciate every one of you who takes the time to watch anything, listen to anything, and to just generally support all these efforts. Alright, so we're going to step aside from the pure JD and JD community news for a minute and sort of get into something that might become a sort of new talking point, another case that we are looking at delving into. But first, let's start with the general. First of all, Stranger Things. This is absolutely my favorite TV show. I know a lot of people are really excited about this season. I just binged the whole thing on Monday, and it was amazing. I loved it. But some actually really incredible news, which is that Stranger Things Season 4 became the second Netflix title to cross 1 billion hours of views on the platform, and the only other show that was able to do that is Squid Games, which I know a lot of people really liked also, but I have not seen that one. I actually don't watch that much content. That might be hard to believe or seem weird as somebody who's a filmmaker, but I really don't watch that much stuff. I watch sports and Stranger Things. In the new season of Stranger Things, there's a character named Eddie Munson. Now, if you haven't seen the season yet, this might be somewhere where you want to stop. There's not going to be super spoilers here, but if you're somebody that doesn't like to know anything about anything before you get into a TV show or a movie, this might be where you want to stop the video. The Duffer Brothers, who created the show, were recently talking about Eddie and sort of the inspiration behind him, and they talked a lot about Damien Echols. Now, Damien is a really good friend of Johnny's, and if you don't know the story, he's part of the West Memphis 3, these 3 teenagers who were accused and subsequently convicted of murder back in the 90s. They've all been freed now after a very long time of fighting for their innocence, and they are still trying to ultimately clear their names and really prove their innocence. But the Duffer Brothers talk about how they use Damien as an example, and how they really use the idea of what Damien went through and sort of his story to base the character of Eddie on, who winds up getting falsely accused of murder himself. So I have this article here from Sci-Fi Wire, and we'll kind of go through it and see what everybody said. So, how Stranger Things metalhead dungeon master Eddie is based on the West Memphis 3's Damien Echols. Damien Echols is one of 3 metalheads blamed for the murders of 3 8-year-old boys in Arkansas in 1993. If you've been watching Stranger Things 4, then you're going to spend some quality time with Eddie Munson, the Dungeon Master of the Hellfire Club, whose unfortunate proximity to Vecna makes him Hawkins' most wanted man in the hunt for Christy Cunningham's grisly murderer. But true crime fan may recognize Eddie for another reason. He's based on a key figure from the all-too-true case of the West Memphis 3. In the 4th season of the popular Netflix series, which came out last week, viewers were introduced to the metal-loving character played by actor Joseph Quinn. Munson is a social outcast, a drug dealer, and the leader of the Hellfire Club, a group for Dungeons & Dragons fans. First episode opens up with him scoffing at reports that the nerdy role-playing game leads to Satanism and even murder. Soon enough, Munson himself is accused of murder. Matt and Ross Duffer, who created the show, recently said in an interview that Munson is based on Damien Echols, who was controversially convicted along with 2 friends in the 1993 murders of 3 8-year-old boys in West Memphis, Arkansas. The Duffer brothers said that something we really wanted to get into this year was the Satanic Panic, so that brought us back to the Paradise Lost documentary series with the West Memphis 3, and it brought us back to Damien, Ross said. We really wanted that character who's a metalhead, he's into Dungeons & Dragons, he's ultimately a true nerd at heart, but from an outsider's point of view they may go, this is someone that's scary, so that's really where the idea for Eddie came in. The Paradise Lost documentary series, directed by Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky, explored the case. 3 boys, Stevie Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore, were discovered murdered in a West Memphis, Arkansas ditch on May 6, 1993. Damien Echols, then 18, Jason Baldwin, 16, and Jesse Miskelly, 17, were identified as suspects and arrested. All 3 were convicted the following year. Miskelly and Baldwin received life sentences, but Echols was sentenced to death. The 3 teens were described as social outcasts who liked metal music, and their controversial trial focused on Echols' interest in paganism and Stephen King books. The apparent satanic panic, a fear in the 80s and 90s that Satanism was running rampant in society, element of the case was a central focus of the documentary series, and questions about the teens' convictions grew louder. New DNA evidence emerged in 2007, casting further doubts on the trio's guilt, which fueled attempts to get the case retried. After years of court battles, the Arkansas Supreme Court in 2010 ordered a lower court judge to re-examine the case, specifically whether new DNA evidence might have exonerated the 3. With a new trial seemingly on the horizon, Echols, Baldwin, and Miskelly reached a plea deal with prosecutors in 2011. The 3 men would enter an Alford plea, which allows a defendant to maintain their innocence but acknowledges the prosecution has enough evidence to convict them. The judge in the case vacated the previous convictions and ordered a retrial, at which point the 3 entered their Alford pleas and were sentenced to time served. In other words, they were freed. Since his release, Echols has published 4 books about magic and ritual, one of which is titled High Magic, A Guide to the Spiritual Practices That Saved My Life on Death Row. Of the new Echols-based character, Matt Duffer said, "What's sad about his narrative is that the people who get to know him love him, and the people who don't have judged him horribly, just because of the way he dresses and just because of his interests." Well, doesn't that sound familiar in quite a lot of ways? So the reason I bring this up is that Brian and I and a couple other people were thinking about diving into this West Memphis 3 case and looking at doing some work to bring exposure to this and shine a light on this to more people. So if that's something that you guys are interested in and want to learn more about, let me know, let us know, because I think it's really interesting and it's just another case of miscarriage of justice, and it's something that needs to be righted. And there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. You may have seen some tweets recently about DNA testing and going back to court in Arkansas and the denial of that, unfortunately. And these guys are still fighting for their lives. Damien's still fighting for his life. And, you know, to tie it all together, this is a case and a person who's very near and dear to Johnny. And, you know, so to just kind of bring that full circle, it's something that's worth looking into and worth doing the work for, to make sure that this gets the exposure that it deserves. So that's going to be it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of, if you want a different format, if you want different things in it. Just let me know what you think and what you want. I hope that you enjoyed it. I think that this is a great way to kind of break up the long episodes of the podcast. If you haven't seen it yet, we did start to do some merch for the podcast. No pressure. It's just some people wanted some t-shirts and stickers and stuff. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description. But here's what everything looked like. And we did just add some professional nonsense gear to the mix. So if that's something that you're interested in, here it is. And we will see you in the next one. Bye!